Hello, I hope you're well. Very recently, I had two clients. The challenge was that they were leaders over people that they were senior to at work, but they found it challenging to tell these people what to do because many times they feared that the persons in question will not do what they're supposed to do, and they fear that the person will see them as disrespectful, and they didn't quite know how to get the person to do what they needed them to do, even when these persons were often dropping the ball and making it difficult and really challenging for them as leaders to get their job done. And they both expressed their frustration. And it reminded me of, as a corps member, I served with the College of Education. I was just 23 at the time. And my responsibility was to teach them French. I was a French graduate. And one of the things I observed was how students always came late to class. I'm already in class, and then they stroll in and they tend to pull me backwards or just distract the rest of the class. And even though I was young, I was a lady, I was standing in front of so many men, I needed to let them know the importance of not coming late because it makes my work difficult for me and also distracts the class. So I gave a standing rule to say, my class is 8 a.m. It's either you're in before me or you are out after I get in. So if you do not come by 8, you can listen to the class outside of the window, but you will not come in. That same week when I gave that instruction, 2 soldiers walked into class shortly after I was already in, and I told them, no, you can't come in, please just stay by the window, and they stood by. Shortly after, 2 officers were now walking in, and I said, no sirs, you're late for class, the instruction is that you're here on time, stay out. And they didn't take it well. It went really wrong, and before the end of the day, my name had gone round that a particular corps member insulted 2 officers. It was gravely exaggerated, and within 3 days I was summoned to the commandant's office. And the first thing he told me was, I hear you're the one that insulted my officers. And I said, I didn't insult anyone, sir. And I told him the narrative. This is what had been happening, and this is what I did. And then immediately he turned to the other colonel that was next to him and said, how does it happen? And is it not sergeants that train officers? And is there at any point where the officers do not respect the sergeants because of ranking? I believe we should be people of order and principle. And if this young lady is trying to bring order and principle into her class, then it should be respected. She is the instructor, they are the students, and they should follow her instructions, not the other way around. And that's how we closed that case. Subsequently, I observed that for every time I'm walking to class, I recognized that if they were in front of me, they hurried to get into class to be seated. And my class was always full from the beginning all through. And they took the language course more seriously. But that also put me in check to ensure that I had not set a standard that I couldn't meet myself. And I'm sharing this story to encourage any leader who is having a similar challenge with getting the people that work with you to follow your instructions, particularly because they're older than you, or probably they've been in the system longer than you and they feel, who are you to come tell us what to do? Or we were here when you were employed. So the fact that you now have the title doesn't mean you can tell us what to do. You need to recognize that you have authority, not to disrespect them, but authority to design a system that puts it all in check. Because you need to remember that the people that gave you the position, the management that gave you the authority, believed that you had the capacity to deliver. And for every time someone who also needs to check themselves makes you believe that you don't have what it takes to lead effectively and with influence, then you are telling the management that gave you that authority that they chose wrong. So it's important that you get back into yourself and create a system that puts everything in order. Create a system such that it is not you that punishes wrong behavior. It is the system that punishes wrong behavior. So when they recognize there's a system, the system makes them to align to what needs to be done and gets them to do what they have to do, or they face the consequences. So exerting your authority as a leader is not by shouting down at people. It's not by calling them names. It's by building a system where everyone feels seen, heard, and appreciated, where everybody understands the principles of the work that needs to be done and the discipline that is required to show up in season and do what is expected of them to do without favoritism, without disrespect or disregard, but with the highest level of professionalism and commitment to excellence to getting the job done. It can be challenging if you've never done it before. It takes a lot of gut and grit to get it done, a great ability to communicate effectively, communicate your reason and not your emotion. When you intentionally work at it with a focus in mind, not just for you, but for the person you're collaborating with, little by little, you'll begin to get there. And remember that no matter what comes or goes, no matter what gives in or doesn't, you never give up until you win. And even if you don't win, you finish strong, because once you have finished strong, you have won. Have a fantastic day. Cheers.